Hi everybody, I am here to tell you guys about this awesome printer that I found last year. It's still available in stores, and it is the Epson Ecotank ET2550. And I'm going to tell you today why it's the best printer that I've found so far for printables. So thank you guys for joining me. So first question comes from Nicole Christopher, and she wants to know a couple things because it is her first time buying a printer and she's looking into this one as a recommendation possibly. So she wants to know what is the price of this printer, and I would say it's anywhere, I've seen them online from about $250 to $300, and you can buy them in town probably, or in your city at any Walmart, Office Depot, or Office Max. And she also asks if they are wireless, and yes, it is a wireless printer, and that is definitely one of the pros of this printer. Wireless connectivity, you just, it's going to ask you to connect to the Wi-Fi network, and it's going to ask you to input the password, and then you're good to go. So the next question comes from Becky Martin, and she wants to know the price of the inks. And I'm going to show you the bottle on the screen so you can take a look at that. That's how big it is. And it's about $12.99 per bottle. I think there is a black bottle that is extra large or something, and it's $14.99. But it should be about $12.99 per bottle. And yeah, so it's probably about, what, like $13 times 4. 26, so it'd be about like $60 to fill up all the tanks. But honestly, like, I only have to fill up 1 or 2 tanks a month, like tops. I've never had to fill up all 4 at the same time, ever, never. So it's been pretty cost effective to cost about tops $25 a month to print out as many pages as you want. I don't think that's a bad deal. So Sharon Napier, she wants to know what makes me love this printer. So again, what makes me love this printer is the low cost of the ink, and she wants to know what makes it worth the upfront cost. That's, you know, significant, $250 to $300. So basically the cost of low ink, low maintenance, and no troubles with this printer, as well as high quality prints. That is what really makes this printer worth the money. And I've never spent this much on a printer. I usually spend no more than $100 on a printer, and that's probably why I've had terrible experiences with printers. So I'm really happy with this one. And Mary Almsberger, she wants to know, is it easy to add ink? Yeah, it's really easy to add ink. All you have to do is open up the side panel where the ink cartridges are, and then you uncork it. Well, it's got a little like plastic top cap thing. You just take that off, and then you open up the bottle and squeeze the ink bottle in there. You may want to wear gloves because sometimes it does get on your hands, but I mean, the ink washes off after like a day of just regular hand washing. It's nothing crazy. I've had many a blue fingers before. So she also wants to know if there's any lines that it prints. No, this printer, I haven't had it. I've had this printer since about last November. I haven't had it print out any lines. However, sometimes, I don't know why, but at the edge of the pages, sometimes it'll like have like a black smudge. I don't know what that's about, but it's never on anything that I needed to use, so I mean, that's fine with me. Just sometimes it does that. And I have 2 related questions here from 2 ladies. I have Judy Newbert, and she wants to know, are the inks permanent like a laser printer, or does the ink run when wet? And Lynn Starossi Becker, she wanted to know, does the ink smudge easy? So basically, this is an inkjet printer. And this type of inkjet printer with this type of ink, if you wet the ink after you've printed it out, it will run. It will definitely run. So it's not like a laser printer. And the type of ink formula that it uses it definitely will run if you get it wet. Definitely will run. And but once you print out the page and you touch the ink, it's not wet. So if that's another question you have. So yeah, it is inkjet, and the ink will run if you get it wet after you print. And I have Shirley Neufeld Douglas here. I can quote her saying, "This is the best printer I have ever owned." And I agree with you, Shirley. It really is the best printer I've ever owned. It's very low maintenance, no problems at all. I've had this printer almost a year now, and I can say I haven't had no problems with it. And this is the first printer I can ever say that with. So I definitely love this printer. So next I have Anita Fisher, and she wants to know if this printer prints 12 by 12. And no, it does not print 12 by 12. It's just regular 8.5 by 11. I have Julie Krabenhoff. Love you, Julie. Sorry, I got tongue-tied. Okay, so she wants to know if this prints borderless, and no, it does not. It actually leaves a 1/4 inch border around the page, so it does not print borderless. And she wants to know, and also Angelica Serrato would like to know, what kind of paper the printer can print on. And basically, the printer can print on, I looked it up, it says plain, premium photo paper, presentation paper, envelopes, glossy paper, and I've printed on cardstock, and the quality of the prints on everything is really, really good. But I have found that on Epson printers, I've had an Epson printer before, and I have found that I need to adjust the printer settings. They have to be set to best quality and lower print speed. By default, they are somewhere in between on quality to get it to print a little bit faster, but I always have to adjust that to best quality at lower print speed, just because I get better colors that way, and I just really like that printer, that quality better than just the default settings. So go ahead and play around with that setting if you have this printer, or when you get this printer, to make sure that you get the best colors that I've been able to find with the settings. Okay, so next question is from Rosalie Carl, and she wants to know, what is my favorite paper to print on for digis? So basically, I have ephemera kits that are just like vintage ephemera, and those specifically, I use so many of those in my journals, and I print those so many ways. Sometimes I'll print them full size on printer paper. Sometimes I'll print them full size on the back of scrapbook paper that I have extra that I just cut down to 8.5 by 11 and print on the back of. And sometimes I do shrink them down and print them again on regular printer paper so that I can stick them on pages and it won't be too bulky. And I also print them like that so that way when I fold them in half and use them as part of a signature, it's not too bulky. But sometimes when I'm going to use elements as like journaling cards, or like just like little things I'm going to paper clip onto the journal, I will definitely print those out on cardstock, just because I feel like it's more sturdy to write on. So when I'm trying to avoid bulk, I will print on printer paper, and when it's okay to be a tiny bit bulky or it needs to be a little bit more sturdy, I'll definitely print on cardstock. Okay, so the next question comes from Elizabeth Hoagland, and she wants to know what the power consumption is. So the wattage, she said. So I looked this up, and if we're talking about the same thing, you might be talking about the power consumption of this printer. And when I looked it up, it said that asleep, the printer is consumes 1.5 watts. When the printer is on standby, it consumes 5 watts. And when the printer is operational, it consumes 13 watts. So if that does answer that question, Elizabeth, thank you for asking. And Stephanie Abad, she wants to know, is this a continuous ink printer? And I have had continuous ink printers in the past. Well, not a continuous ink printer. I bought a printer and I attached this like $60 kit that made it a continuous ink printer. And what that basically means is that you add tanks to the side of your printer and hoses that attach to the cartridges inside of your printer, and it continuously feeds the printer ink. And basically, yeah, that's what this printer is, minus the cartridges inside the printer. It just has the tank, and the tank's just, the printer just takes inks from the cartridges. So I would say it counts as a continuous ink printer, yeah. And I'm really happy that I don't have to struggle to do that with this printer. That's the best part of it. Gail Greenfield Agostinelli, she wants to let everybody know that this printer has changed her life. That's a literal quote, and you can take that to the New York Times and print it. Okay, so Debbie Cooper, last question. She wants to know this printer works on coffee dyed paper. And basically, you can print on coffee dyed paper. So coffee dye your paper, let it dry. I even go as far as to iron it. Just because, I mean, I've always ironed it no matter what printer I have, just because I like it looking a little bit flatter. So I always iron it. But you can definitely print on coffee dyed paper. But again, this is an inkjet printer, and the inks will run, specifically on this printer using this cartridges, the inks will run if you get them wet. So make sure you coffee dye your paper first and then feed it into the printer. And it will definitely print on coffee dyed paper. And she also wants to know how long the inks last and how many pages do they print. So basically, the top of my printer says that this ink cartridge system will print out 6,500 black and white pages and 4,000 colored pages. To be honest with you, it does not print that many. What I have found is that it prints about a good 500 pages. Yes, I would say yes, 500 pages total before you need to change out any color. But like I said, you will never have to change out all 4 cartridges. So it's really hard to say how long the cartridges really last, because I've never had to refill all 4 cartridges. It's usually I run out of pink, and then a week later I run out of blue, and then 3 weeks later I run out of black. Like that. That's why I really love this printer. It's really cost effective. It's really hard for me to say how many pages it prints, but I know for sure the first time I had all the cartridges filled and I printed out like crazy, it was about 500 plus pages that I printed out full color, and before I had to change out any one color. So that's why I think this printer is the best. It's just really cost effective. I haven't had this printer give me any problems whatsoever. I haven't had to clean the print head. I haven't had to go through any of the troubleshooting steps. I've never had any printer that's this low maintenance, so easy to use, and super low cost on inks, and inks that I can go and buy genuine Epson inks, because before I used to think it was cost effective to buy off-brand inks, but sometimes they really do mess up your printer. And if you have an expensive printer, you're not going to want to buy off-brand inks because they might mess up your printer. So like I am right now, I have a little bit more expensive printer, so I'm not going to put off-brand inks into it. But it's really good that the inks only cost $12.99 a bottle, so I have no problem getting genuine Epson inks for this printer because it's just so cost effective. It's like it would be more expensive not to, because I could ruin my printer. And oh, I forgot one last thing. I did have somebody ask me, like they said they had a printer and it printed out on anything that the printer manual told them not to put in there. And I haven't tried to print out anything crazy on this printer again because I usually bought a $50 to $100 printer, and since this printer was about $250, I haven't been so crazy to experiment with it, I guess. So I hope you can understand that. I don't have really an answer to that. But I know, like I said, I printed out all those weight papers that I said earlier and those paper types. So I do hope that this answered your questions for this printer, and I hope you like this review. I am not sponsored by Epson at all. I don't get a single penny if you decide to buy this printer or not. I've just had many people ask me what kind of printer I use and what's my favorite printer and what's the best printer I think is for digital printables. So I do hope I answered your questions, and thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for watching and subscribing and for commenting. I'm trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you could please hit that subscribe button, I would really, really appreciate it. I'm going to be having a giveaway coming up next. That'll be my next video. I'll be showing off a journal and giving it away. So please, please, please subscribe so that you get notifications of when I post. So thank you guys so much for watching and for asking your questions. Thank you so much for participating. Peace out, you guys.